Hi there, I'm Christine from Secret Garden, Mercantile and Country Brocante, and I'm so excited because today we're going to be opening the boxes of the new IOD 2025 holiday release. And actually, this is my first time being able to open the actual products myself, so let's get started. Okay, we've got the camera flipped down now, so I'm going to start opening the new release. Here's the first mold, and it is a real deep design mold called Saint Nick. And sure enough, it's a deep release, and it has a wonderful picture of the man himself for Christmas. And it's, as you can tell here, it's a nice deep one. Probably would be best, although I think you could do this in air dry clay, but I think it would be probably best to pour this in resin if you're able to, because of the depth of it. In the air dry clay, it might have some cracking, although that's sometimes desirable if you want to use it for a vintage look. Here is the outside of the pack, and it shows what happens with the relief of the mold, and it's a wonderful mold for Christmas. So we're gonna get a lot of use out of that, I think, for our different projects. And then next is, this one is called Santa's Holo. And this one is a lovely combination of Christmassy type images, and also it's really nice because it's got Santa, but it's also got some woodsy type of images. So it's really quite lovely. And here you go. Here's the cover of it. And it has 8 by 12 sheets. They're doing a wonderful job of keeping these small so you can use them on a lot of different projects. They're not just for large furniture projects anymore, but they're great for some wonderful Christmas decor items. So you can use them on trays, on little drawers, on boxes. And here we go. I'll just flip through the different designs for you. As you can tell, they have wonderful kind of fruits and berries and birds, and oh, look at this little darling squirrel here. So that'll be really cute. And the other thing is, on here there's little label areas, and you could actually stamp on those if you'd like with your stamps, and they especially would be good with the apothecary label type stamps, so you could use those. Here's Santa again, and some woodland Santa scenes, and some nice small ones that could actually be used even on tags or on cards. And they're very easy to do. You just rub those on on the transfers. I love these Christmas bells, and I can envision those on a little box, a Christmas box. And I'm thinking I'll be making one of those soon, so hopefully I'll be able to show you. Anyway, and then here's a larger Saint Nick, for you to see lots of holly berries, darling bird, and little goldfinches here. There's a lot of transfers in this one set, so you're definitely going to need one of these, because this gives you all kinds of versatility. So it's really a fine transfer. All right, so now next out of the box is a gilded transfer, and this one is called Figgy and Flourish, and it has again 8 by 12 sheets, so lots of different possibilities. Here's the back of it with all the different transfers that are in the pack, and it has both this time the gold transfers as well as silver transfers, which are new. We haven't had silver before, so that's really special. And here you go. You can look through these. Beautiful tree, lovely borders. This looks almost like an Art Nouveau type style, which is really coming into vogue lately too. And this one has very sweet little labels that you can use for Christmas motifs, and then an alphabet, a full alphabet, so you can do your own little monograms on bottles or on you know, pieces, wooden pieces, whatever you'd like to do. And then there's some flora and fauna pieces. And this one is a full layout that's Christmas joys and again trees and another whole alphabet in the gold. And if you haven't used these before, I would encourage you to try them. They're easy to use and they just give such a lovely gilded look to your project. So that one is Figgy and Flourish. And all of these are available on our website at secretgardenmercantile.com. So please be, after you see this video, if you please go to the website and you can put your orders in directly from the site. So, and we're located here in Seabeck, Washington, and we'll ship things out right away to you. So here is the next one, the next transfer. And this one is Christmas Joy, and it truly is a joy to be able to present this to you. These are a lot of different lovely, and they're kind of the old style Christmas motifs, and they're just really lovely to look at. So you'll find a lot of use for these, I think. And Christmas crafting, and here you go. This one has lots of, there's a little saying, and nothing Santa more enjoys than thinking of toys for girls and boys. So it's the very traditional, old style, vintage Christmas. So best Christmas wishes. Here's a darling little Santa riding with a little girl and a little boy in a car. It's just beautiful. Christmas greetings, a Merry Christmas to all. Here's a beautiful Christmas tree, and this is reminiscent of an earlier transfer from years ago that is really pretty. So I think it was figgy pudding maybe or something, but it was a really nice transfer too. That's gone now, long retired. So and they've kind of brought back similar images here, so it's really quite nice. Lots of hollies and berries, waiting for December 25th. And then lots of Merry Christmas script that you can add to your pieces. Here's Christmas joys, and then Yuletide greetings. Very traditional and yet just lovely. So those are, that is Christmas joy. Yeah, very nice transfer. And then on to, ooh, this is one of my favorites, is Winter Bodest. And this one is another gorgeous piece. And you know what is really interesting about this is they show it here on a book. And I think this is something that we forget to kind of do, but it really is quite lovely. You can actually repurpose an old book and make it into something. And then here we have it on some tins. So don't forget about using these transfers on upcycled items. It doesn't have to be new pieces or wood or things like that. You can use your upcycling skills. So here it is, Winter Bodest. I'll just flip through those. Lots of really nice, here's some acorns and oak leaves. And again, they've tried to incorporate some of the things that you can use throughout the season, both in the fall, you know, with the little birds, and this one is also one that can be used in the fall in addition to the Christmas season. And we'll see that later on another transfer as well. And then the French birds, there we go. And again, Noel and the beautiful red berries. This one is one of my favorites here. This one is a German saying, I believe, and it's just beautifully done. So with the fauna. Actually, it's the flora, not the fauna. But anyway, here's the tree, a beautiful Christmas tree out in the woods with season's greetings underneath. And we've got lots of birds and lots of, you know, pine cones and lots of things to add to your projects. So it's really nice. Let's see. Oh, this one next is the Partridge Lane. And this one, Partridge Lane, is full of all kinds of goodies, and it has the actual, all of the 12 days of Christmas. So you can make separate ornaments with your 12 days of Christmas. Each one is in here. And they have little ornaments, little transfers I'll show you, that you can add to those ornaments. And you can use any style you'd like. If you'd like to use the flat ornaments or the round ornaments, they work well on each one. In addition, you get a whole village of little houses, and we know how we all like those little houses for Christmas time. Here's the 12 days of Christmas, and they're just beautiful. So we have everything from the partridge in the pear tree, the 5 golden rings, they're all here. So that's a really pretty set of transfers. And then here are the wreaths, a whole set of wreaths that you can use, and a little snowy forest. Here's some wonderful garlands that you can put on your projects. And here, I love this little swan with the pink bow around her neck, just gorgeous. And we have little toy shops, a whole little village again, and then little ornaments and stockings. So, and here's the rest of the 12 days of Christmas here. The maids of milking, the drummers drumming, all of the ones are here. So ladies dancing, that's a very beautiful one with the ballerina. And here's the numbers for the 12 days of Christmas as well. So you could do a reverse image if you'd like, on, you know, put the actual picture on the front and your day on the back if you'd like, or whichever way you want to do it. So, and then here's one that I really like to use too, and you could wrap this around a tin or something that you choose to use, and this is just a really wonderful little village scene. So lots of possibilities packed into that transfer as well. And then last but not least of the transfers is this one, and it's called Clementine, and it is gorgeous and very rich images. And you'll find that you again can use this. This is what I was talking about, using it for both the Christmas season and the Thanksgiving or harvest season as well, leading up to Christmas. So we're starting early this year, so you can get ahead on your holiday projects, and this is a great lead-in for those projects. So let's flip through this so you can see it. So this one is just, like I said, the richness of these images is gorgeous. So you're going to really like this one. This one, it has pomegranates and pears and all kinds of wonderful. Here's a gorgeous rose, I believe that is. I'm not sure if it's a rose or some sort of peony, I'm not sure. But anyway, it's gorgeous. I think they're roses, but they're just, and they have the old European script as well. So, and then the pear blossoms here. You know, the level of detail is just phenomenal in these transfers. So, and here's one that has the date on it too, 1922. And just gorgeous. It looks like an anemone to me. I'm not sure if that's true, but it looks really gorgeous. And then, of course, here's the Clementine, the oranges. So that you've got all of that in this transfer. And then here's a wonderful floral print that you could add to a piece. And this would be wonderful. You know, I can imagine this on a cutting board, on a, you know, a decor style board. I don't think you would be cutting on it necessarily, but as a decor item, but it's just beautiful on a board. So here we go. And then on to the next box. So let's see if we can open this one up for more delights. Let's see what we have. Oh, we have more molds in this one. So we're going to have, let's see, let me move these out of the way so I don't block your view of everything. This one is called Bibelots 2. And Bibelots was introduced, I don't know if it was a couple years ago, I think so, but seems like it anyway to me. But it's a wonderful mold that is great for making ornaments. And so when we were talking about your different ornaments before that you could do with the 12 Days of Christmas, this would be the ideal ornament that you could use for it. So you can, again, you could just, let's see if I can get it out of here. You could definitely use this to mold your ornaments, and you can do this in either the air dry clay or use epoxy in it. And they're wonderful. The wonderful thing about IOD is they put lips on the sides of the molds. Every one of them has a trademarked lip on the side. And so that way you can smooth your clay across it to make nice flat surfaces, and make sure that you're pressed down with your air dry clay really nicely to get a good detail on everything. And then also they say right on here how many mLs are in each mold, so that when you're pouring with your resin, you know exactly how much resin to mix to be able to accomplish what you're trying to do. So it's a real plus with the IOD molds, and it makes it, you know, very doable. Anyway, this one has hearts, which are great, and I think that'll come in handy actually later on too, for later, you know, in February when we get to Valentine's Day, you'll find that. And I love, 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 love this bell. That is a perfect one. And then we've got, I think in the last Bibelots, there was a round ornament, and this is more of an oval shape, and then we have a diamond shape as well. So this is going to be a great addition to your mold making. Oh, I don't know if I should even do this one yet or not. It's such a wonderful, wonderful surprise. Okay, I'll just let it out of the box here. This one is called Snow Globes. And we had the cloches mold, and that was a big hit, and it was wonderful because you could pour it in clear or in solid with the clay, but this is made specifically so that you can replicate a snow globe, and you can use clear epoxy in this, or you can use clay. And the neat thing about this is it has two of these beautiful molds, and they each have areas down here at the base that can be painted. And then the other thing that you can do with these, and it's wonderful, is it has the addition of little vignettes that you can add to your snow globe. So you've got little trees, you've got little animals, little woodland scenes. You can do little stars in them. You can just create anything you want. And of course, if you decide to pour with the clear epoxy, you can also do reverse decoupage on there. And I'm going to be trying to do a session on that, of how to do those reverse decoupages for these snow globes, because then you can add little scenes of your own to this mold. Here's a picture of the little molded vignettes on here as well. I don't know if you can see that, but hopefully you can. So, all right. So we're gonna, but that is that not the most precious mold? We probably waited for that for a long time. So, okay. And then on to this one is called Victoriaana. And it's a wonderful, I don't know, it kind of is a combination of the cameo mold and some of the others like the bows and that kind of thing, but it's a totally different, distinct mold on its own with a variety of different Victorian style motifs that you can use for your work. And it's just got all kinds of possibilities. It's so sweet. So let me open that one. Here you can see the back, how it looks as far as some of the molded pieces. You can use them for decorations. You can use them for any number of projects that you might be able to do with these. So here we go. We have tassels on this one. There's a little tiny little borders, and those, you know, again, you can build on those little small laurel wreaths. There's all kinds of, there's even a little dainty little frame. I could see this actually being poured as a piece of jewelry. That's perfect for a little, with a little tiny image in there. It would be perfect. And then you've got these with the I think these are berries maybe on them, or yeah, it looks like little berries. And then this is a floral. There's a tiny little bird here too, so don't forget about that one. And a beautiful rose in full. You know, the detail is just phenomenal on this mold, as always. So, and you know, you can't, until you actually see, you know, when you put them in, you put the clay in and you release it, you really don't get the idea of the full picture of how these molds actually look, but they're so phenomenal. And this, I believe, is the last of the molds, and there's quite a few. Anyway, but this one is called Winter Forage, and this is a great mold that has, again, reliefs of berries and also pine cones, some full-size, well, yeah, they are full-size pine cones. But anyway, so these will be a great addition to your projects. So let's open this one up so you can take a good look at it. Let's see. All right. This one, it has this beautiful foliage, and then it also has, again, the holly. And this one could be, you know, grouped. You can put the grouping with the pine cones and the holly and the foliage. And that on its own, on a little piece, would be just phenomenal. So this would be a great wraparound also for a rounded piece, like a either a jar or some sort of pitcher or something like that too. I can picture that on those. So they're beautiful. Yeah. So those are the Winter Forage. And then we're on to the stamps. Okay. Let's see. We've got stamps here. This one, and each one of these, by the way, always has the reusable masks. So once you get into your stamp making and you figure out how to use masks, which is important, you can make sure to be able to layer your stamps over each other so that you can make little vignettes and that kind of thing. So that's what those bonus stamps are for. And each one of the IOD stamps now comes with those bonus stamps. So let's open this one up and have a look at what we've got. Here's some of the ideas that are just on the package itself. And this one is, here we go. So this one has little cards, and it also, I'm looking forward to this one because I've always wanted something that says Postcard. The other thing that is darling about this is this Santa with this whole, all of his reindeer, and I think that'll be very fun to use. And then it's got the stamp and the little Christmas, all kinds of different possibilities. This is actually I think it's a church out in the distance, so that's going to be a pretty one too. It's like an old-fashioned postcard, so you could actually print this on a piece. And then the other thing to remember is when you're stamping, and I could see especially for this one, you can stamp with a permanent ink on like on paper, and I've done those on cards and that kind of thing. And then you can come back with some watercolor and do a really nice job of tinting the inside of the stamp. And it's really quite easy because the stamp gives you the outline of what you're doing. It's almost like coloring. So it really you become quite an accomplished artist, even though you might not have a lot of art experience. So it's really fun to do. And then of course the masks are great, and they're all now printed, so you don't have to figure out which one is the mask for which stamp. So this is a big plus that they came up with a few years ago, a couple years ago, I think it was. So that is the first stamp. Next, we're on to Holly and Pine. And this one is, here's an idea of a box, and it's a really pretty one with some berries, you know, an arrangement in it. But there's all kinds of wonderful stamps here for you to use. I'll open this one up real quick here so you can get an idea of what it looks like when it's open. And again, this is something that you might need those masks if you decided to layer some of the elements together. So for example, if you decided that you wanted to add a little bit of, you wanted to use this, this little decor item as your centerpiece, but then you wanted to go a little further and you wanted to add in either the holly to the side of it or this fir sprig, you could just use your mask and mask off this piece and then stamp the next piece that you're using, and it'll look like you this piece is behind this other piece. So anyway, that's a special technique that you can use, but we've got the bonus masks for all of that here available to you, right with the stamps when you buy them, okay? And a lot of people get anxious about using stamps, but I would encourage you to just try them, because the biggest thing about using stamps is when you do your stamp, you want to decide where you want it positioned and then commit to it. So that's the most important. And then here is the Plum Fairy, I believe it's called, let's see, Sugar Plum, sorry about that. Anyway, the Sugar Plum Fairy. And it is another, look at this, the Nutcracker. And we've waited for a long time for a Nutcracker stamp from IOD, and they have come through this year. So there it is. So we'll open this one up so you can get a better view of the actual stamp. Here it is, the Sugar Plum Fairy in all their glory, and I just love this one. It's got a little fairy, an actual Sugar Plum Fairy. It's got a ballerina. Here is the Mouse King here from Nutcracker, and the Nutcracker themselves. There's two of them, so you've got a lot to work with that way with multiple stampings. You could have multiple Nutcrackers and in attendance. And then you've got little Clara here in her nightgown, I believe, sneaking around and looking at the party. So it's a wonderful, wonderful stamp, and lots you can do with that one. And I think you'll really enjoy it. There's that. And then next is called Joyful Christmas. And that is another lovely stamp with all kinds of Christmas patterns, traditional Christmas patterns, I should say. Let's see, I'm gonna open this one up. And when you look, you can see, I love this piece. They did a wonderful job. I'll take it out so there's not as much reflection on it. But they did a wonderful job on this canister. And this one too, very simple. And they used, I think, the IOD ink in the green, and it turned out so nice. And, sometimes I think that green is a little light, but I really like it on this one. So it fits right in. And then this, I think, is the tomato color, and it's perfect. It gives it that vintage feel, the shades that they have in there in the IOD ink. So it's perfect. And we, again, have all of that available here at Secret Garden Mercantile. So you can come here to our shop, actually our studio here in Seebeck, Washington, or you can order online at secretgardenmercantile.com. And we'll have the website and all in the YouTube video on the comments, so for you. Okay, so here we go. We've got a snowman. We got a full-size Saint Nick here. That'll be wonderful. And then a little fawn with the little spots, just gorgeous, and a wee little angel here who is just precious as well. And of course a candy cane and another St. Nick. Last but not least, and this probably should have been one of the first ones as far as going into the season, but this one is Autumn Blessings. And so this is a great one for your Thanksgiving preparations, for your fall decor that you're going to be making. And let me show you. And this again, there's all different size stamps in here, but it can be used for cards, it can be used for upcycled pieces. Gives that real farm cottage look here. It's just really nicely done. So I really think this is a very valuable stamp. And here you go, full-size pumpkin. I'm imagining this one. I want to stamp with this, and then I can see some kind of tawny yellow gold that I'm going to add to this with maybe with some watercolor, and then paint this kind of a darker green, an olive type green. I've already got my eye on what I can do with this stamp. And then of course we've got turkeys, and we've got smaller pumpkins here to add. And again, you can use your masks to be able to place the pumpkins in the arrangement wherever you want. And this also has little olive sprigs here, so that's kind of nice as well. So, and it kind of gives that European feel to it too, I think, which is kind of nice instead of just the farm look. So there you go on those. And then I believe we are down to really the last but not least, but they are definitely something you'll want to lay eyes on. These are the paint inlays. This is 12th Night, and it's just a phenomenal paint inlay. And if you have not tried paint inlays yet, once again, I would encourage you to try them. They're very actually easy to do. The main thing with paint inlays is that you need to follow the instructions. And it's not difficult at all to do. They work really well, and they're just amazing when you do them, because you get this idea of, oh my gosh, I can't believe that it turned out as well as it did. When you use a paint inlay, you actually paint over the surface, and then you put the inlay into you put a moistened inlay into the paint, and then you just a spritzed inlay into the paint, and then it dries, and then you spritz it again and peel it back, and it actually impregnates the paint with additional paint that's on the tissue, and I'll show you the tissue paper, and it just leaves you with a fully painted, beautiful design, as if you had somehow painted a masterpiece yourself. So here we go. This is what's in this beautiful inlay. Up here, I think I'm going to turn it the other way because I think maybe it's better to see the actual inlays. Yeah. So here we go. This one, maybe backwards again. Let's see. Oh, it's because when you put down the printing, it has to be backwards. But here you get an idea of the wonderful topography. It's backwards on here, but it will be, you know, the right way when you actually do your inlay, because you'll be placing it like this. And then here are these other ones. And maybe you can see what they say a little better here. I think it's a little dim to be able to see, but the colors are very vivid and they're gorgeous. And this is that almost like a dark cranberry type color that I love for Christmas. I think it's, you know, we used to use more of the bright reds, and I love these kind of toned down reds. Here's a beautiful Noel, beautiful Santa image. These are just such gorgeous prints. And here, of course, your stag, your deer, and the prints that say Mary. Just so precious. So you can use these on all of the different things that you're making. And don't hesitate to try them on all different pieces, because you can do it on wood, you can do it on And oh, you can do it on painted, like if you want to paint a pot or something like that, you can use these inlays on curved pieces quite easily actually. This one definitely lends itself to a bigger sign or a bigger plaque, or something that you want to really embellish beautifully. It's the Merry Christmas, and it's just a gorgeous one. And then let's see, you've got also, so it gives you all kinds of possibilities, these inlays here. And then let's see, this one is Where the Christmas Tree Grew is what this one says, and it's again reversed, but it's just so pretty. These are just gorgeous. Trust in the Lord is there. And then here is, let's see, Holly and Fig, 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. This is perfect. And you can add in some sprigs with it. So all kinds of possibilities with this inlay. And then this one, once again, is called 12th Night is what that one is called, that inlay set. So we'll just put that aside as well. Just want to put it back in its place here so it stays nice. And can't wait to use that. There's all kinds of possibilities there. And then this one has got to be, this is the last of the opening, but it's truly, I think, going to be one of my favorites. This one is called Lafolie, and it has gorgeous vignettes of flowers and, again, berries and vines. And it can be used, I think, more than just for Christmas. But I can't wait. I'm going to make some really nice boxes, I think, with this, because I was thinking about this again. And I want to try it on various different colors as backgrounds. That's what the exciting part with this. The other thing you can do with paint inlays is you can actually put on the paint, let it dry, and then you can actually use a sealer type, like either a matte sealer or some type of sealer, and actually you put your inlay into the sealer, and then it can also work with a sealer, so you don't always have to have it in paint. So if you want to put it directly on a surface but have a clear background, you can do that too. So more information to come about that process. But so here are these Lafolie, and here we go. These are just so pretty, and they have, again, the historic type printing on them, but the colors are just so perfect. If you look at those, they're just like, fine painted surfaces, so they're really nice. Here we've got some little deer and some more roses, lots of different pieces there to work with. And here are your little vines, and this will be great. Again, I'm thinking of boxes. You can use them on furniture pieces, diminutive pieces, whatever you want to do with them, but they're just gorgeous. I love those. And then we have here this is gorgeous too. It's got a little grouping of trees and some roses and lots of birds, which of course are always my favorite. So we've got those to work with. They're so delicate and yet so, they're just, they look lifelike, and just the painted surfaces are just phenomenal. The colors are just really nice. More of the birds and flowers here, and tendrils galore. So you've got little garlands that you can use for your projects. And then we've got here a full piece that could be, this I could see on the top of a box. That's what I'm thinking about with it. But you can use it for any number of things. On top of a dresser would be great. On top of a tray, you can do all kinds of things with that. And then here we go. Some more wonderful, you know, again, the shapes are just really phenomenal. And this is just gorgeous here. We've got the roses, the rose boughs, everything. It's going to become a favorite, I think, this one. And the thing with all of these paint inlays is they are limited. So you'll want to get your hands on them as quickly as you can, because they are limited edition. All of the inlays are limited edition, as are most of the Christmas transfers and molds. So best to order early, because I think this is going to be a very sought after release. So well, thank you very much for being here with me and allowing me to show you all these wonderful new items from IOD. And again, they'll be available to you on our website at secretgardenmercantile.com and here at our studio in Seebeck, Washington. And I'm Christine, and I'm happy to help with any questions you might have, or you know, just get in touch with me through the website. And I can always help you to figure out what would work best for your project. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.